Hi, I'm New and welcome to my Science from a Safe Space series where we learn about things. On today's episode, we're going to learn about the microwave oven. Many people have this magical box just casually sitting in their homes. More often than not, we think we know how it works.
How does it actually work?
Before we jump into general terms and then about the microwave oven, I wanted to do a comment shout out. This was my favorite from the last video. Get you a friend that lies publicly just to boost your confidence. All right, let's jump into the basics. Energy is our ability to do work, and without energy, we can't do anything.
Wait, what?
I know it sounds really silly. More specifically, things can't move and things can't change without energy. So you might wonder, what does energy have to do with heating up a Hot Pocket? Well, I'll tell ya. Just like putting on clothes, going to the kitchen to get a snack,
Watching one of your comfort shows,
I hate macaroni and cheese.
and even having an argument
but why would you say something like that?
with yourself.
I don't know.
This all requires energy. You're doing work to change something or to move something. Next up, we've got some waves. We've got different kinds of waves. Whatever.
Please help.
And microwaves are also a part of the wave family. I know. Shocking. Anyways, all of these waves basically send information or energy from one place to another. So now that we've covered some of the basics, in order to generate this microwave energy that we'll need to heat up the food, we need something called a magnetron. I'm not going to go into depth about what a magnetron is or even how it works. To be honest, I don't even know how to say magnetron half the time. Magnetic, magnetron, like I've said it many times. You can just imagine it's a quantity that uses very tiny particles you can't see called electrons that are controlled by a big magnet and also powered by electricity to make those microwaves. These waves get sent through a box not lined with metal, which is directly relevant in food inside, which absorbs the wave. And that's how that works. Yes, I read from my iPad for that. Anyhow, okay, so here's the cool part. Forget everything I just said. It doesn't actually matter. Water is the key.
I don't need it.
Bet you didn't know that. A lot about how a microwave works is essentially based on tiny particles within the food called molecules. And water molecules are the ones that we're going to focus on for this video. So do me a favor, put your hands together like this and rub back and forth. Come on.
Do it.
If you started rubbing your hands when I asked you to, your hands are probably uncomfortably hot by now. And if you never did anything and you're just kind of staring at me, hey, what's up? This motion here is an example of how energy in the form of movement creates heat.
Use your character.
So the microwaves are sent from the magnetron to the molecules within your food. The water molecules in your food then start to move. Let's imagine the microwave is a club. Many of you are longing for that experience since the pandemic began. I am not one of those people. For the sake of this video, let's just imagine. Picture this. You walk into club micro-rave. The club is packed. There's hundreds and hundreds of people within this club. DJ Magnetron is up there making everybody feel great. All the people in microwave are dancing and moving. If there's a ton of people dancing and moving near each other, they are creating a lot of energy, thus a lot of heat. Let's pull ourselves out of this imaginary club for a second. Let's take a breather, put your mask back on. Water molecules are the reason why the food is heating up. Depending on how much water is in the food will determine how fast it gets hot. Does that make sense? You and all of the other people are like water molecules within the club. If you've ever tried to heat up a vegetable within a microwave, you'll notice that it takes no time at all for it to get hot. And that's because vegetables, or most vegetables, contain a lot of water. And remember I said for this video, we're talking about water molecules. Just note that within a food, you might have sugar, oil, or fat, and all of these molecules can dance. Just so you know, it's not just water molecules popping and locking by themselves. They're just a lot easier for us to talk about. While I say all of this, you should should know that microwaves can only penetrate food to a certain extent. If you're cooking something really big, you might find that after several minutes, the outside is really hot, but the inside of the food is not as hot. In fact, maybe even cold. And this is because the center or the deeper layers of whatever food you're cooking are so far in, they require a different type of heat transfer called conduction. So let's use socks as examples. I'm gonna put the gray inside the orange. So now we can pretend like this is some kind of food. Or we can just pretend like we eat socks. So I put this bundle of socks into my microwave. The microwaves themselves are now penetrating into my sock bundle, but they can only reach so far. That means that the gray socks, because they're so deep inside the orange socks, might not be getting heated up by the microwaves. So what happens is the orange sock, which has lots of heated up water molecules, then heats up the gray socks by proximity. So the entire thing with time gets hot. Basically, outer layers are heated up by the microwaves, inner layers are heated up by the outer layers. Teamwork! So have you ever seen those instructions where it's like,
heat for 2 and let's stand for 1 minute?
I always thought standing on its own was like optional, hey, don't burn yourself kind of directions. I read them, I do, but I never follow those instructions. Then I found out it's very likely that it is also so that you don't burn yourself, but it could be a part of the heating process. I didn't know this is why I don't cook. Just 2 minutes are to get to the outer layers of your food, and that 1 minute is about the conduction process. Conduction, where one thing heats up another thing, could be an explanation for why your bowls or plates could be getting hot from the food being hot, not the microwaves themselves. Okay, so it's the halfway mark of the video, which means our editor is gonna share a fun fact about microwaves with us.
I do not have fun facts. So here's a fact. Last year, during the start of the lockdown, individuals were going to the library. Now you might ask,
What does this have to do with the microwave oven?
well, I'll tell you.
Individuals were going to their local libraries, picking up their favorite books, and then putting them in their microwaves.
Now you might ask,
Why?
That is an excellent question.
they believed it would kill the virus.
Okay, I get it. Viruses tend to die in high temperatures. So I think the logic is there.
Due to this, several news outlets released statements encouraging individuals to, you guessed it,
Stop treating your library books like yesterday's leftovers.
instead they say you should let it sit for a few days if you are scared of contracting anything from your local library book.
The thing about viruses is that they need a host, so just a few days without one is just as effective.
If you are the type to submit to this urge, I highly recommend you invest in a Kindle or be like me and never go outside. I hope you enjoyed this segment.
Okay, so here's the $1 million question. Why can't I put forks in the microwave? I don't know about you, but I was always warned to never put any kind of utensil in the microwave. I just kind of didn't do it. But the thing is, I never knew why until now. Metals are considered really good conductors of electricity and heat, so they do an awesome job at transferring energy. Within metals, there are electrons that you can't see. The electrons are moving around really freely. And with this freedom, they are helping moving and transferring energy and thus heat. However, depending on the shape of the metal, electrons might actually end up clustering. They might gather or concentrate themselves in a specific location. What makes a fork are these like little spikes on the ends called tines. If they're pointed, the electrons start to group together or concentrate themselves on the ends of the fork. And if they're doing that, these parts of the fork are becoming a lot more hyperactive. The fork becomes negatively charged from the microwaves. Once the tines of the fork, which now has groups of concentrated electrons at the end, they're kind of ready to just shoot all that energy back out into the microwave or back into the world. And that's because they started to build up a lot of energy within the tines and they have nowhere else to go. So they kind of have to just bloop. It's not like that. Like some metals, forks don't absorb the microwaves or that energy. They kind of actually just reflect them. And remember, I mentioned that a microwave is basically like a metal box. When you have the microwave or the magnetron shooting out waves, they go to the fork wants to now shoot it back at the microwave. Then they shoot them back at the fork and just this back and forth happens. And this back and forth is why you'll get sparks in the microwave, because there's nowhere else for the energy to go. Sorry to break it to you, but your microwave's not supposed to do that. So besides our standard utensils like forks, knives, and spoons, aluminum foil is the other party that's banned from Club Microwave. Aluminum is very much a solid, and so it doesn't absorb the waves either. When those molecules are heated up within the aluminum, they have nowhere to go. Unlike water molecules, they can move and transform into something else like steam. So the energy escapes. Aluminum pretty much contains its heat. If left in a microwave for too long, that rapid building up of energy can cause it to catch on fire. However, foods like Hot Pockets and companies who make things like Hot Pocket use this to their advantage for the cooking process. If you've ever noticed, Hot Pocket goes inside of a sleeve, and this sleeve is lined with aluminum. So basically this thin layer of aluminum allows for the food or the Hot Pocket to thaw and cook evenly. A murder! A lot faster than if you put it in without the aluminum. How did I do that? I beg of you. Lucky for us, the microwave oven was designed to contain microwaves, all of this energy, and even the lightning bolts that happen within it. If you were to put a metal inside of a microwave, you could actually damage the microwave. So before we close out this video, let's do a quick summary. 1. Energy is necessary to do things. 2. Don't put metals in the microwave. Even though you can, you shouldn't, but you could. But you shouldn't. And finally, Hot Pockets aren't okay. I think that's everything I learned about the microwave oven. Feel free to comment below. Anyways, I hope you learned something new today. And remember, science is magic. Science is everywhere, so magic is everywhere. I'm still working on that one. If you made it to the end of the video, you get a sticker. Here you go. It's an alligator with a guitar. Next episode, we're talking about soap. Oh, do you know how it works? Anyways, later days.
Oh man, I spilled salsa all over myself.